Hi, I'm Ty the Real Estate Guy, and I wanted to tell you my story about how I found myself in a horrible, desperate situation when I was unable to sell my own home in a bad market, and how it turned out to be one of the best things to ever happen to me. As many of you know, I'm a realtor here in Utah, but I'm also an investor. I'm in the stock market, cryptocurrency, and I'm all in on real estate. I believe it's important to be diversified, but real estate is my number one choice because real estate has proven over time to be the fastest, safest way to build wealth. Over the last 15 plus years, I've guided more than 500 families through the process of buying, selling, and or building a home. And I've built 5 homes for myself. And I currently have multiple investment properties, including a vacation rental in Hawaii, long-term rental, and creative finance properties here in Utah. So you can trust me to safely guide you through the process of buying, selling, building a home, or investing in real estate, no matter what route you'd like to take. If you're ready to start your real estate journey, either as a homeowner or an investor, feel free to reach out to me with any questions. Okay, let's get to my story about how a bad situation when I was trying to sell my own home turned out to be a huge blessing. And you're gonna wanna watch to the end because I'm gonna tell you how I turned one rental property into 3 investment properties. It all started in 2014. My beautiful wife and I purchased a 2-acre home site to build our dream home. A few months later, after going through the design process with the architect and the home builder, we were ready to get started. The plan was to live in our current home located in Linden, Utah, until the new home in Eagle Mountain was completed, so we would only have to move one time. We're also planning to take all the equity from several years of owning multiple homes and put it all down on the new home to keep our monthly payment low. So we listed the house in Linden about 3 months before the expected completion date of the new home. We priced it at $335,000 and held an open house. No one showed up. After a few weeks, with no showings, we dropped the price to $325,000 and held another open house. Only one lady showed up and she wasn't able to purchase a home. Now, I was starting to feel a little uneasy. After a few more weeks, we hesitantly lowered the price to $315,000. This was my absolute bottom line pricing, and I was adamant that I would not drop the price another penny or accept an offer lower than our asking price. We held a third open house and it was a total bomb. I was disappointed, but more than anything, I was desperate. At this point, we only had about 1 month to sell and close on our Linden home so we could take all the equity that we'd built over the years and put it down on our newly constructed home. Call it luck, fate, or whatever, but later that week, when I was playing basketball with some friends, another realtor, Dustin Zeller, asked how the home selling was going for us. I told him how bad it was, and he said, I can help. He explained seller finance, and it lit me up. I was super excited, but I didn't quite understand how it all worked. That night when I got home, I told my wife, but she wasn't quite so sure, probably because I did a terrible job of explaining it. Long story short, we made an appointment with Dustin, and he came to our house to explain seller finance to us. To be honest, it was a lot to take in, but we could clearly see the monetary benefits of having a seller financed property. The only downfall is that we'd have to leave tens of thousands of dollars in equity in that home, which meant we'd have mortgage insurance on the house that we were building. Ultimately, we decided it wasn't a huge deal because the profits earned from the seller finance property would far exceed the additional cost of mortgage insurance. And because a home in our new neighborhood sold for so much soon after we moved in, we were able to remove mortgage insurance on our home that we just built in just 6 months. How cool is that? I'll get together with Dustin in the near future to shoot an in-depth video on the advantages and disadvantages of seller financing your own home the same way that I did. Okay, back to the story. So we decided to list our home with Dustin. Remember that I'm a realtor, so it was humbling to hand control over to another agent. He surprised us by telling me to raise our price by $20,000 back up to $335,000. I was hesitant, but he was confident, so I did it. Believe it or not, we sold that home less than a week later for the higher price. The cool thing about that is the additional price was double his 3% commission, which we gladly paid him. We still ended up making $10,000 more than if I had sold the home on my own at my bottom line pricing. Now, the one thing to remember is that this is creative financing, so there's some give and take between you and the person buying your home. For instance, you'll most likely want a larger down payment than they want to give you, and they may want a longer term than you'd like to give them. In this situation, the buyer wanted 5 years, but we only wanted to give them 3 years because of all the equity that we'd be leaving in the home. We were able to get the 3-year term, and if I remember right, the buyer gave us $40,000, which gave us a large sum of money to put down on the new home. Once again, if I remember correctly, by selling our home on seller finance, we were collecting $850 per month above our monthly mortgage payment. And Dustin set it up so a neutral third party was not only collecting the payment from the buyer, but they also paid our monthly mortgage payment on that property and deposited the rest of the money into our bank account. This reminds me, if you want to do seller finance with us, you'll want to go to your bank and set up a separate real estate investing account. We already had one set up, and that's where we had the deposit go each month. The purpose of this account is to help you buy your next investment property even sooner. And I view that money in that account as untouchable, only to be spent on my next investment property. Believe it or not, because we chose to seller finance that property with Dustin, we ended up making approximately $50,000 more on that house than if we'd sold it traditionally. When you consider the money that we were making on the back end, we were earning approximately $1,000 per month. Because they were buying the home from us on seller finance, we didn't have to manage the property at all. They mowed the lawn, they changed the filters and the light bulbs, and anything that went wrong with the property, they had to fix it. They put down a large down payment, which meant they were also much less likely to default. It was perfect, and I was shocked at how well it all worked out. As a matter of fact, after 3 years, my wife and I weren't sure if we wanted it to stop. Really, if we didn't have so much equity sitting in that property, we probably would have just let it keep on going. As we neared the end of our 3-year contract, the buyer asked us for more time. Unfortunately, I was planning to use our equity in that home to buy another investment property. And because Utah's housing market was doing so well, I was getting anxious to buy something soon. But once again, we were enjoying the proceeds from our investment. We agreed to give them another year, but asked that they give us $40,000 more so we could buy my investment property. And we raised the mortgage rate to 7%. The buyer was good with those terms and moved forward. We used that $40,000 plus the money we set aside in a real estate investment fund and purchased a rental property in a hot location. That rental property earned us $300 per month over our mortgage payment. But the icing on the cake is that the housing market got hot and we also built a ton of equity. 2 years later, we sold that rental property, and using Dustin's creative finance system, we were able to buy 3 properties with equity from that one home. I purchased 2 homes on seller finance, and because the housing market was still hot, we decided to buy 1 rental property in my own neighborhood. The increased income might shock you. We traded $300 per month from the rental property for approximately $800 per month on the other 3 properties each, for a total of nearly $2,400 per month. Personally, I couldn't believe it. The profits gained from seller finance continue to astound me. To add to the insanity of it all, Utah's housing market has been on fire, especially over the last year or so, and I have now owned that rental property for about 2 years. When I sell that house early next year, I'll be able to use the equity to purchase 3, maybe even 4 more seller finance properties. And as each seller finance property that I own gets paid off, I should be able to purchase 2 more seller finance properties with my profits. That's why Dustin calls it rentals on steroids. Once again, this all started 7 years ago. Dustin and I have now completed multiple transactions together, and I can now help you the same way that he helped me. If you're looking to invest in Utah real estate, don't hesitate to reach out to me. This creative financing system will maximize your profits, minimize your risk, and remove the pain of managing your properties. If you already own a property here in Utah and you're not sure what to do with it, let's schedule a time to meet. Also, Dustin and I will be doing a series on this creative financing system, so make sure you hit the subscribe button below and ring the bell to be notified each time we post new videos. Look in the description below for the links to the videos that we've already produced. If you're ready to invest now, or you have a property or multiple properties that you'd like to convert to seller finance, please feel free to reach out to us anytime. We can meet you in your home, or you can come to the office, or whatever's comfortable or convenient for you. If you found this information helpful, please give me a thumbs up. It will make you feel good.